Africa. Let's find out what's happening in these three different African countries.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
Okay.
Okay, so today we're going to Sudan, Algeria, and Rwanda.
Right. Where are we starting with?
I'm thinking we should probably start with Sudan,
Okay.
where we read from the Sudan Akbar newspaper, and the headline says Minister of Health, severe drug crisis.
Okay.
Well, Dr. Omar Al-Najib, Minister of Health, revealed a severe crisis facing the ministry in the field of medicines, said Al-Najib when addressing the workshop of pharmacokinetic abundance in Sudan, which is the challenges and the solutions they could bring about. Now, it started yesterday in the medical supply hall, and that the drug crisis is not like the rest of the crisis, pointing out that its results lead to the death of patients, expressing the hope that the workshop will address all the issues of the crisis transparently to reach final solutions. The pharmaceutical situation is negative in the face of a severe crisis, he said. Al-Najib pointed to a trend of health sector structure, revealing pharmacies that have gone out of work and that there is a real problem in the profession that has turned the pharmacist into a seller, he said. And he preached that in his speech about the commitment of the Ministry of Finance to pay the debts of the Medical Supply Fund. Not really the best of stories coming from the Sudan Akbar, but we hope there's always a Ministry of Finance owing somebody there. They always owe somebody.
There's a similar pattern, among some people.
They always owe.
I know, right? Okay.
Well, moving on, we're looking at Algeria, where we're reading from the L'Expression newspaper. And the headline says, Algeria's hospitals on the brink of saturation. So it turns out hospitals in the Wilaya of Algiers have experienced a large influx of patients from COVID-19 in recent days, at a time when intense efforts are being made to control the epidemiological situation. For example, at the Mustafa Pasha Hospital University Center, an unusual movement was observed in the emergency departments, which saw an influx of dozens of patients, a significant number of whom were referred to the COVID-19 service for the necessary treatment after confirmation of their cases. But what accentuates the concern of the medical staff of the CHU is the saturation of the COVID-19 unit due to the large flow of patients whose signs of fatigue and panic are observed, especially in view of the emergence of new strains of this deadly virus. At the Salim Zemili Hospital in El Harak, the COVID service is on the brink of saturation and the emergency department is experiencing a large influx of patients to the point where medical staff think they believe there's isolation of suspected cases of COVID-19 being complicated. Now, to the effect of being able to control the situation, calling on citizens to understand the situation by avoiding going to the hospital only if their condition worsens. We mentioned this. I said it. You go to the hospital, you're not careful, you might go and bring back the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they just confirming
It
it.
just happened, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's not really the best. The government has to step in. If there's so much saturation, the numbers are too huge for the centers. I mean, already we're looking at social distance. Already we're trying to avoid people being in close contact with each other in an enclosed space. And if the place of healing is having too many numbers than it can contain, that means it's just going to spread. And then whatever cure they think they're putting out there will not work. And so then if you're not careful, the health practitioners themselves would contract the virus, and that's going to become a problem.
Right.
So the government has to step in. If they're going to make temporary emergency centers for COVID cases, that would be good.
They should.
They have these kind of tents. They're really solid, not the regular type, but these are like homes, like huts, houses, kind of. They can actually do something like that, or they can use wood. They should
Something, isolation.
They should set up and show their power. This is an emergency situation.
Right. Okay.
Well, finally, we're going to Rwanda, where we're reading from the New Times newspaper. And the headline says, renewed push for UN to criminalize genocide denial.
All
Well, the
right.
Minister for Justice, Johnston Busingye, has called on the United Nations to intervene in reining in the growing list of groups and individuals who continue to deny the facts around the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. He made the appeal during the colloquium on the UN and the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda on Wednesday, April 28th. Quoting research professor in genocide studies and prevention Gregory Stanton's stages of genocide, Busingye said that denial is usually the last stage and that it is damaging. The denial we're seeing today is precisely the last stage. It harms Rwanda, survivors, and history irreparably. The UN Security Council should consider adopting a resolution condemning any denial of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda as it did with the Holocaust. Busingye, who is also Rwanda's Attorney General, expressed concerns over the increasing genocide denial, saying it is cross-cutting among the old and young generation, Rwandans, foreigners, academics, researchers, journalists, and those who identify themselves as human rights defenders. The trend is worrying and concerning, he noted, adding that the deniers are using different platforms from online platforms to academic and formal gatherings. On this particular point, we would also wish to call the attention of the UN and seek its full cooperation in dealing with this growing phenomenon. It happened. What are you denying?
It did. I know, right?
I mean, what are you denying? A bad name? I think it's a good thing to actually be able to talk about the fact that this actually happened. But then
Right.
look at us now. We're not where we were. We're not where we began. We're not how we started out. Yes, we started out on the wrong foot. Probably we got it wrong somewhere and we did some terrible things. But that is not the Rwanda we know today. The Rwanda we know today is leading innovation and technology in the continent.
Right.
The Rwanda we know today is actually doing great things, giving people hope. People in Rwanda today can't even tell that this actually did happen because the way
Yeah.
the country is today is entirely different,
Yeah.
and that is a lot of work. Denying it doesn't solve the problem. It only makes it worse. The fact that you can't imagine it did happen or the fact that you don't want to believe it happened doesn't mean it did not. It did happen. Accept it, bury it, and move on with it.
Okay. Right. That's
That's
all
all
we
we
have
have for
for
headlines.
headlines across Africa.